So here we are on another episode of setting up your Spektrum transmitter. Hey YouTube, it's Sean, Griffin RC Planes. So here we are on another episode of setting up your Spektrum transmitter. We're going to go through every single menu item in the transmitter from front to back, back to front, side to side, starting with the function list. Number 1 is servo setup, rates and expo. Number 3 is the throttle cut. I'm going to show you how to do the throttle cut and show you what to watch out for. That could really not be a good day. And then we're going to go all the way down through the entire function list and some of the stuff inside the function list, like servo setup. We might do several of the options inside there. Once we get done with the function list, we'll do the system setup. We're going to talk about everything transmitters. And these are the computerized transmitters that have a screen. It doesn't matter if it's a DX, NX, IX. If it has a screen, then what we're doing here will pertain to you. So I appreciate you guys following along. And without further ado, throttle cut. This is our test airplane in the back, a little demo plane. Let me show you all about it. Hang tight. So the contraption that you're looking at is our demo plane. Look how spectacular this thing is. We have all of the servos on the wings because inside the servo setup has a lot of things called sub trim and all kinds of stuff. How maybe you might have 3 servos to control one aileron. We'll call it the alien. Might be a big enough wing that you need 3 servos for one alien. Well, you might need to balance them, and inside the servo setup is balance, where if you happen to have 3 different servos on 3 different channels, you need them all to be moving the same. So we're going to do a video on the balance and the servo travel and everything inside servo setup. So that's why there's a bunch of wings. We might do 1 alien and 2 for the flaps. It might be a split flap plane where you do need 2 servos for the flaps, or might be no alien and those are all flaps. We're just going to do a bunch of combination cool stuff. It's a way for all of us to learn together. Our little smiley face on the front represents our brushless motor. So that's our throttle. And then we have our aliens here, elevator and el roder. This quick video is going to be throttle cut, and it is very important to set your throttle cut like this. All right, your throttle cut, it needs to be set at -100 when your throttle cut is active, -100. Why am I saying -100? Because in some of the pre-selected models, very similar how you can add a model in an NX6 directly from the transmitter, add a new bind and fly. For the DX transmitters, you could go to the Google Drive where Spektrum shares all their files. You could find a certain airplane, you could save it to a memory card, you could put the memory card into your transmitter and add a model that way. A lot of models were set to -130 for the throttle cut. And some of the manuals said to set the throttle cut at -130. Well, what that was doing was either, one, you wouldn't have any throttle at all because the speed control didn't recognize what -130 was. Or number 2, the really dangerous part is when you turned your throttle cut off and you thought it would still have no throttle, you were just deactivating the throttle cut, the propeller would start spinning. So they don't do that anymore, but you need to set it at -100. And here's how the throttle is moving up and down the scale here and sending the PWM, the pulse width modulation signals, from the transmitter to the receiver. The receiver sends it to the speed control. That's how they communicate. So over here on the left is the throttle. When you're in no throttle, the stick is all the way down, -100. When your stick is in the middle, you're around 0. And when you're full blast, you're +100. So you need the throttle cut to be at negative 100 to be correct, where you can turn your throttle cut on, then plug up your plane, and when you're ready to fly, you can turn the throttle cut off, and everything's going to work like it is supposed to. So, number 3 in the function list is throttle cut. All right, we made it to the throttle cut screen, and it says switch inhibited. So right now there's no throttle cut. Nothing is there until you put something next to switch. Some transmitters you can highlight inhibit and you can flip a switch and it will automatically know which one it is. Some older transmitters you actually have to roll through and pick the switch you're going to use. I like to use this H switch back here. And I like to have my throttle cut on when it's forward, because I feel like if you're going to bump it and have a catastrophe while you're flying, it will be really hard to bump it forward from that position. But it's easier to bump it backwards when it's kind of sticking out. So throttle cut on when it's forward. So we got our H. And now down below it here, we'll see 2 boxes. And this one on the left, we'll call it that it's empty. And the one on the right, we'll call it full. And then there's a cursor below it. The cursor represents where your switch is. And when the box is full, that's where the switch will be active. That's where whatever you're wanting to do with your switch, wherever the box is full, is when the switch is doing what you're telling it to do. So right now the switch is back towards me, and that's my throttle cut off. But I want my throttle cut to be on when the switch is away from me. So the cursor moved to the empty box. Well, we need to put a full box where the empty one is. And then an empty one right there. So now, that's the switch back towards me, where I'm flying. The box is empty. Switch is full, or forward, and the box is full. So that is the throttle cut working in the direction that I want it to work. And it's at negative 100. Now, over here on the very far left, we can see the bar graph of the throttle. And I'm moving the throttle, and nothing's working. Turn throttle cut off, which is a switch back towards me. And we can see our bar graph moving. And we can see our little smiley face flag. So here's our throttle cut switch. When it's forward, throttle cut. When it's backwards, no throttle cut. I guess you can also choose something under this delay, which I have never done anything with it. I don't know what it is. Well, let's see what it does. So from inhibited, we have a 0.25 seconds and 0.50 seconds, 1 whole second. This might be more of a, I'm just guessing, maybe a helicopter thing, or maybe just for scale effects. You want it to take a little time to turn the prop off. You know, you pull up to the gate and you turn your engine off, and you want it to, you know, hit the kill switch and it slowly cuts it off, I guess. That could possibly be where that is. And then here below it says require the stick to be low. Okay, so maybe this is require stick to be low so you can turn your throttle cut on. All right, so here, follow along with me here. So let's, throttle cut is off, and we can see our bar graph moving up and down. Now I'm at full throttle, and I'm going to turn on my throttle cut, and it dropped it down, right? And I don't have anything. Well, if I leave the stick at full blast and turn throttle cut off, even though my stick is at full blast, we still don't have any throttle until we bring the throttle down, and then it will work. So that is the require stick to be low. Now let's change this to no, and here's our throttle cut not active. Full throttle, throttle cut, and it dropped it down. Well, I'm still full throttle, and I'm going to turn throttle cut off. And look, it jumped up to full blast. So that could be a major boo-boo. That could be bad. You know, your throttle stick could be full blast, and just don't realize it, and you turn throttle cut off, and then it starts spooling. So that's why the yes was automatically highlighted as a default. So leave that at yes. So now we have throttle cut. In our first video, we did the basics of the servo setup. In the next couple videos, we're going to check out all the menu items under servo setup. So the first thing is travel, and then we have sub trim, reversing, speed, ABS travel, channel name, balance. We have all these to go through just under the servo setup. We've done rates and expo already, which is really good. The expo softens the center of your stick, which is a good thing. It makes it not as sensitive in the neutral position like our elevator and alien stick. If we put some expo on the aliens and the elevator, then moving your stick just a little bit, it won't do anything. You know, it kind of softens it. We got good videos on that. So that's it for the throttle cut, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody gets to learn something. I get to learn also by doing these videos, and we get to have a good time. Even though winter's coming and we can't do a whole lot of flying, but we get to do a whole lot of fiddling in our little hobby shops. And I got plenty of time to make some videos for you guys. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Why people fall off for no reason, I don't know. At 20,000, 3-jet giveaway. And we can do it sooner than later. We could do it this time next week if enough people subscribe between now and then. So thank you, guys. Until next time, you'll see me here.